Hi, back for part 3 of the dresser project. Today, I'm going to sand out all the scratches and get rid of the rest of the black marks and everything that's still on here after taking a lot of the finish off. And to do that, I'm going to use a tool called a sander. What the sander does is it moves around very, very fast, and there's a piece of paper on the bottom, you can see it, which is just a piece of paper with a whole lot of sand glued to it. And when it moves around on the wood, the sand scratches what's on the wood off and makes it nice and smooth. I'm going to have to do this 3 or 4 times because there's 3 or 4 different kinds of sandpaper I'm using. I'm starting with rough sandpaper. It says number 50 and it's very scratchy. And then I'm going through all these numbers. Number 80, smaller but still very scratchy. Number 120, it's starting to get kind of smooth here. And then number 180, and that's very smooth, and that'll make the wood nice and smooth for painting. So I'm going to have to do what I'm doing 4 times, but I probably won't show you all of that because it's kind of boring and loud. Now, one thing you need to know about using a machine like the sander is it's very loud and it makes a lot of dust. So to be safe, I'm putting these things over my ears. They look like headphones, but they're really just, they cancel out all the noise. And now I can't hear hardly anything. Then I'm going to put this dust mask over my face, and then I'm going to sand. Okay. Okay, finishing up with the sander. Nice and smooth now, and you can't even see those scratches that used to be in the top. There's a few little imperfections, but we're going to leave them there because you don't want to sand down too far on this because the top is really a really thin piece of wood called a veneer, and you don't want to sand through it and expose the wood underneath that's a different color. So I'm going to clean this up a little bit. Then I'm going to take a piece of sandpaper and go around the edges where I couldn't get with the machine and get it ready for the stain that I want to put on it later. When you sand it, it makes lots of little teeny pieces of wood everywhere. And you have to wipe those off with a rag like this. It's like cleaning the table after you have lunch. And get those all off because you don't want to catch those under the stain. Use a rag for that. And then I'll take a little piece of sandpaper like this and just use it with my fingers around the edges to make sure the edges are nice and smooth. Can't do that with the machine because the machine has a flat bottom and the edges are not flat. there's a little place around the edge that's sort of a corner, so I'm folding the sandpaper in two to make a point. And then I can run that in that edgy space and get right in the corner. Okay, I'm getting hot, so I'm going to take off my sweatshirt, clean this up a little bit, and then come back and put the first coat of stain on it. Okay, now I'm going to color it with this wood stain. Color is called red mahogany, which is the closest I could get to the original color of the rest of the dresser. So I want to make it look like it matches. I'm going to take this stain. You notice I'm wearing rubber gloves again because I don't want to get it on my fingers. It wouldn't hurt my fingers, but it might be hard to get off. And this brush, and I'm going to brush it onto the top of the dresser. Here we go. Okay, even though I painted the whole top, there's only a little bit of this gone because it goes on very thin. I'm going to stop the tape now, wait 15 minutes, and I'll come back and see where it looks like. Okay, I'm going to take the stain off now with a rag and see how much has soaked into the wood. First, I have to put my gloves back on so I don't get stain all over my hands. Here's my rag. It's actually an old pair of my underwear. That's what I use for rags sometimes. Most of the wet stuff is off. The top actually looks pretty nice. This is one of the drawers, so we're trying to get it pretty close to that, and actually, it's not far off. And one coat might be enough. It has to dry for probably the rest of today, so I'll look at it tomorrow and decide if it's ready enough to put the shiny top coat on it.